The Hard Count is presented by BetMGM. As y'all know by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this college football season. We'll be using their lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for all of you each week. Now, when you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code HARDCOUNT, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. 1, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code HARDCOUNT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Step 3, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code HARDCOUNT when you sign up. Let's make this college football season 1 for the books. Let's make it legendary. Let's get to the show. Welcome into the Hard Count presented by BetMGM. It is a Merry Christmas Eve present under the tree. Cookies, Jake, about to be laid out for Santa. The milk is out there. It is a time where you need some heavy machinery, and what better machinery to use than a Crain from Crain & Co. The man, the myth, the legend. The Grinch tried to steal him and couldn't do it. It's Jake Crain.
Yeah, I actually turned into the Grinch. That's the craziest part. First off, what's up, brothers?
Awesome.
Good to see you. Good to come in. I haven't played a road game in a while. You know what I'm saying? Typically, you come to us. It's a home game. Now, excited to be here. Tonight, you know, it's my daughter's first Christmas. So tonight, I will be doing the responsible thing as a parent that has a child in their first Christmas. I'm going to be building all her little setups. We got an outdoor slide thing I got to put together, even though it's going to be freezing. I'm gonna Bear Grylls this thing and go out and fix it. But now just fired up.
You're an animal. Okay, just so we got the outdoor slide. What else is that?
I got her this little playpen thing with a little climbing wall on the side of it that's not too high. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not the handiest person. Like, I'm trying to work on that. Like, I thought maybe becoming a dad would like increase my handiness attributes, like +6 or 7. It's maybe +1 or +2 at the end of the day, so I'm working on it. It's a process. It's a work in progress.
Nobody really likes the guy who brags about being handy anyway. Like, regardless, you want to be subtly handy. And I think for both of us now being in the dad coaching tree, we are progressively working towards that.
We are.
But speaking of coaching tree, the carousel's been spinning like a freaking top.
What a cycle, dude.
And as soon as this hire was announced at Auburn, I was like, I wonder what Jake Crain thinks about this. And so Alex Golesh gets hired. My first thought is, okay, it's not the shiny, P4 name that's coming up. It's not this hot coordinator, but it's like the guy who has coordinator traits to him with what he did at Tennessee, a guy who had success at USF, which doing that in itself is impressive. To me, he's the right personality. What was your reaction when you found out Golesh to the Plains?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the last thing you said. This was a hire that there needed to be a certain type of identity, and I call it a positive arrogance toward the person that got this job. Because culturally, Auburn, and when you look at what happened with Brian Harsin, he was a quote-unquote tough guy, but I don't think he was real with the players. I don't think that connection was there, and you have to have that with Hugh Freeze. And again, nobody could have saw him getting cancer and stuff like that, and it was unfortunate the way that happened. But at the end of the day, molding young men is the most important thing. But when you're getting paid millions of dollars, and players are now getting paid at a place like Auburn, places in the SEC and the Big Ten, and really around the highest levels of college football, you have to win.
Yeah.
And you have to have, for lack of a better phrase, that dog in you, but also be real with the players. So to me, whether it was John Sumrall, who was the number one target for me, who identity-wise and cultural-wise, there are some similarities between him and Golesh. You needed to bring in a killer. You couldn't bring in another camp counselor. You couldn't bring in another family therapist.
Sure.
Okay, you needed to bring in somebody that, A, isn't going to tell people what they want to hear, but what they need to hear, and walks around that building like a winner and is able to let that filter down from the top. That's why, keeping DJ Durkin as the DC, it's not like it's going to be DJ Durkin in the old culture that's at Auburn. Culture's formed and filtered from the top. So I think Golesh checks that box off. So it was more about personality than schematics to me, and that's what Auburn needed. And look, at the end of the day, now I think it's harder to project how coaches are going to do. You look at Brian Kelly at LSU, looked at about as close to a sure thing as possible. But I think the type of personality and the archetype of the person that Auburn hired needed to be that, and that's why I think Golesh will do well.
I learned everything I needed to know about him when he gave that frosty handshake to Tom Herman a year ago.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no,
Yeah.
we remember y'all running up on us and kicked an onside kick the year before. He's like, we'll address that when we play him again. No smack talking, no like nothing dirty, just doesn't break eye contact, handshake, vice grip, keeps it moving. Like, that told me everything about it.
Like in the old ways. I'm just going to look at him, I don't have to say anything. But to me, there's a balance. Like you can't just be that way and not have a real relationship with the players. I think a guy that does this really well is Signetti. You know, Signetti is a little more vocal about it, but he's backed it up. You know, if you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk, and he's done that. But you can tell those guys go out there and not only do they play hard, because effort gets you in the door. I shouldn't have to sit here. If you're not giving effort, then your stuff's going to be out front of the facility. I'll call your parents and tell them they can come pick you up. You can hop in the transfer portal. It's fast. You can transport out of here for all I care. But it's in the winning moments. And like that's been the problem with Auburn.
Yeah.
And it's been offense, defense, and special teams. In those winning moments, they were looking around at somebody else to make the play. They were waiting for something bad to happen instead of saying, you know what, run the ball at me. I pray to God they run the ball at me, or they throw the ball to me, or I get to make the play. Because if I get to make the play, then I promise you I'm going to come through. And that you can't fake that belief. And that to me is culture. That to me is, at the end of the day, it's that chemistry and that camaraderie that on 4th and 1, outside of running what's called and being fundamentally sound and being talented enough, that's the difference on whether you're going to get that 4th and 1 or get that stop on 4th and 1. And Auburn hasn't had that. It's the average Joe's syndrome, I call it, from dodgeball, when it's like, hey, you know, I love what you're doing over here. I'm not okay. You're not okay, but that's okay. Our grades are good. We walk old ladies across the street. That's nice. But at the end of the day, you have to have that killer instinct in you, and you have to have that belief. And that's what Auburn hadn't had. And that's why you see them always collapse in the biggest moment.
And like you just said, it wasn't a thing where Auburn's ever really lacked talent. Like I think we've sat here the last couple of off seasons, talked to SEC media days, like, hey, Auburn, they got this many 5 stars. Cam Coleman looks awesome. Hey, maybe Jackson Arnold's the guy. And it's been a thing where it's not about the personnel. It's about the characteristics. It's about what you said, the personality of the locker room. And so that's why you find yourself falling short in these one-score games. That's why you find yourself falling short when you're up at half against Georgia and things just kind of go to the dogs. So the fact that what you just mentioned, Golesh with the personality, and also having been around a winning culture with what he was doing at Tennessee, with taking over a culture at USF and flipping it around and getting to win games. So,
well, man, when I was coaching junior college, starting out up in Iowa, we went and clinicked at Iowa State. When Matt Campbell was up there and Golesh was up there. I went to see Joe Houston, talked a bunch of special team stuff with him, and Golesh was just like that then. I mean, he's been the same guy, so it's not some sort of mask that he's put on or that he's trying to be somebody else. And I think, again, that goes back to the real part with your players, because how can I ask you to go out there and run full speed into a grown man, 75 times a game if you don't think that, A, I'm real with you, and B, I care about you and I love you as a person. I think that's been what's missing. And look, you can't have that type of culture and miss with quarterback.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a lethal, that's a cyanide pill at this level. And, just bite down hard and hope your religion's right. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't operate that way. And we'll see. Look, it's the tale is yet to be written, but I think Auburn is in a better spot with Golesh than they were with the past regime, which again, I missed on Hugh Freeze. And again, I mean, the cancer diagnosis is tough. If you know the time constraints these guys go through, it's a lot. But he also, a lot of it was self-inflicted.
And they were also right there to your point. Like, I think if you missed on Hugh Freeze, I'm one of those guys as well. I thought Auburn would do much better than they did under him. It wasn't like Auburn's out there just getting the doors blown off.
Or going 3-9.
It's not like they're out there just not competitive. And so that's my take on that. Before we pivot here to Sumrall, as an Auburn fan who doesn't have the orange tint on, like whenever you hear you talk about Auburn, like you have a legitimate
they hadn't sent me a check yet. So
and I love when people say the SEC check cleared. I'm like, if other people are getting these checks, I'm not on the mailing list, unfortunately, which I'm upset about.
Who do I need to talk to?
Get us on the phone.
Yeah,
my take
for
there.
sure.
What do you give the letter grade there for the hire with Golesh to Auburn?
We actually did on our channel a grade the hires video, and I gave him a B plus.
Solid. Yeah.
To me, to go ahead and probably preempt your next question. Sumrall, I can't give an A+ to anybody. I can't give an F to anybody.
Yeah.
Because who knows nowadays? I brought up the Brian Kelly example, right? You look at some coaches that have gone places you didn't think was going to work out, and it works out amazingly. So, like, I wasn't going to give an A+ to anybody, but if I had to give an A to somebody outside of Lane to LSU, right? Because you just feel like that obviously
They won the
you feel like you got the prettiest girl at the bar, right? Pun intended. I feel like Sumrall was a solid A for a lot of the similar reasons that I listed with Golesh, identity-wise. But the thing I like about Sumrall as well is I think he's the perfect blend of a CEO guy that has his imprint schematically on what he wants. That's why he went out and got Buster Faulkner. And I think there's a little bit of a common misconception about what Buster Faulkner wants to do. He's not just going to line the quarterback up and run him 45 times a game. He does that at Georgia Tech because that's what they are best at. Haynes King is not a great thrower of the football. For them to be able to move the ball consistently, he's got to out-formation people. He's got to mix up the gap scheme and the zone scheme. And more importantly, he's got to be able to take away the disadvantage that Georgia Tech has had up front by using the true quarterback design run game, power read, Q power, Q counter, even the zone read stuff, to be able to get a hat on a hat in the box. That's the only way to get even. So I love that. And then Brad White from Kentucky was a really good hire. I feel like John checks all the boxes when you're looking at a guy that goes to a Florida place that is a golden egg location. And not that you have to be a certain type of personality to win at a place, but I've seen Florida win big twice for a while.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. Nobody else really worked. What are those two guys personality-wise compared to the others?
Yeah.
They have that positive arrogance, and John has that as well. So I think Florida absolutely knocked it out of the park.
And it was so interesting watching the Lane sweepstakes and watching where Florida was in there because it came out right around Thanksgiving. Hey, for whatever reason, communication with Kiffin in Florida gets a little bit weird. Didn't feel like he was maybe as dialed in as the Florida job as he wanted to be. We're going to pursue other options. And I think as a Florida fan, the first thought you have is like, well, shoot, we don't get Lane Kiffin. Shoot, we don't get, to your point, we don't get, our top choice when it comes to this whole cycle. But I think the more you sit with it, you're like, dude, if you're not frothing at the mouth, if you're not willing to bleed out on the Florida logo as you hear won't back down, like, dude, what are we talking about?
Well,
it's one of the premier jobs in the sport. What are we talking about?
For sure. And if you've gotten to a point in your career where you're picking between Florida and LSU, I mean, that's a high-class problem.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like trying to pick which girl you're going to take out a Victoria's Secret model show. There's no way you can lose. She can be brunette. She can be blonde. She's redheaded. That's a 2-for-1. So, but think about this. For Florida to hire John Sumrall after what just happened with Billy Napier, because people make the mistake of, oh no, this group of 5 guy didn't work out. We should never hire another group of 5 guy again, which is a terrible way to look at things. It's like saying, oh, well, I got dumped in high school by a blonde, so I'm never going to date a blonde again. It's just you go hire the best guy, and for them to go hire another group of 5 guy, that shows you how highly they thought of John Sumrall and how different John Sumrall is to Billy Napier. So I think that the proof's in the pudding there, and I think it was a smart choice.
Because the administration at Florida is not tone deaf. Like, they understand when they hire John Sumrall, they can already forecast the headlines on the message board,
100%.
People that are upset.
Here we go
another
again.
G5 guy.
Yeah.
It's like, John Sumrall, for starters, not an offensive guy, defensive guy, played defense in the SEC, not quarterback
played
at
Mike.
Furman. But, I mean, coming downhill, bringing the lumber.
Yeah, and calling the defense. Like, he knows what he's looking at.
And not to over-accentuate the personality part of it, but, like, I think that has got to matter, especially when you just had Billy Napier. And similar to Auburn, you're good pretty much every other day of the week except for Saturday. Like, you always – I mean, how many times we hear teams beat Florida, whether it be Elko or Kirby or Cristobal, and it's like, that's a good roster.
Yeah,
a lot of NFL dudes over there. We beat them.
Well, you watch Florida watch Florida against Texas.
Yeah,
you're like it's not a. And look, Florida at the end of the day is a better job than Auburn is, not by an ocean's miles wide, but I do think it's a better job than Auburn is. I think you have a better chance to win there, for longer. But again, when you look at the resources and giving a guy that has done nothing but win everywhere he's went, and a lot of times when he's playing these other power conference teams, he's at a disadvantage. Well, you start giving a guy a sword to a sword fight who showed up with a spoon for so long and still found a way to gouge the other guy's eye out.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to start – all of a sudden you look up and it's Alexander the Great, you know what I'm saying, or Hannibal or somebody like that. So, again, I'm really excited to see John with the enough of the right type of soldiers to actually go win the war.
Hearing him talk at his opening press conference to what you just said, where he's like, I look at our roster, we got some killers on defense. He's like, I would have given the ball to Jaden Baugh 10 more times. You're like, Coach, he had 38 carries in that game. You want to give him 50 carries, more power to you. But there is this sense of like, okay, he won at 2 different G5 spots at the highest level. You go give him some of that premium gasoline to work
for sure.
with, give him some of those big dogs. Like, hey, all bets are off.
Look,
here.
you put him in the best race car, he's probably going to win the race. Like,
yeah.
Again, at the end of the day, like, you can be a great driver. If I'm not in the best car, I'm not winning Daytona. Like, I need to be in one of the best cars, and I don't know how good I can be.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, these guys that make these jumps, you know, yeah, there's concern that, well, you haven't played this level of team this amount of times, but then you think, well, you know, at Troy, you're pretty much even with every team that you're playing, and you found a way to make the conference championship game 2 years in a row. You know, you go to a place at Tulane that had won under Willie Fritz, and Willie Fritz, God, when he was at Georgia Southern, they beat us like a drum twice. That team was a problem. Gave Alabama some problems too. But like, you're like, hey man, you give this guy the opportunity with these resources, like he can be the king.
Yeah.
You know, it's so I'm excited to see that for not only Florida fans, but John Sumrall's a really, really good guy too at the end of the day. And you don't have to worry about any of the off the field stuff or any of the crazy. He's about ball. And I'm very interested and intrigued to see where this ends up.
We had Pete Nakos on the show when they were during their search, and we asked him like, hey, what should Florida fans think about as they're trying to figure out who the next guy is? And he's like, hire a football coach, not a guy who's going to win the press conference. I think with Sumrall, they hired a press conference winner as well as a real winner in what you just mentioned.
I agree.
Pivoting gears, here, one more coach I want to hit on. One of the last guys of the cycle was Matt Campbell at Penn State. And it makes a lot of sense on paper, and sticking in this idea of doing more with less. Like Iowa State before he got there. Yeah. I mean, they were like, I don't want to be harsher, but they were in a lot of ways what Vanderbilt was in the SEC before Pavia started popping up. I mean, like, it was losing season after losing season. And so he has success at Iowa State after a rebuild, and it felt a little bit like he was always flirting with what his ceiling was there. So he takes the Penn State job, and the thing that's puzzling to me, Jake, that I want to get your take on, Penn State fired James Franklin to hire someone to go win a national championship. Matt Campbell, you'd like to think his aspiration in taking the Penn State job is, hey, I need more to go win a national championship. That's what I like about that hire. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think if you look at the hire from the context of what was happening and when it was made, Pat Kraft really saved himself from himself. Yeah. And Matt Campbell owes nobody in Iowa State anything. He was there for, 15 years? Like something like that? It was a long time. And did a lot of great things there. And I mean, when the AD's crying when you left, but not in like a bad way because you embarrassed them or anything, like it really shows you the relationships that he built up there. I just, if I was going to fire James Franklin, and this is not a knock against Matt Campbell, I think Matt Campbell at Penn State can do some special things. I don't know if he can do more than James Franklin
That's
did.
the thing.
But I wouldn't have fired James Franklin to hire Matt Campbell. I would have fired James Franklin to hire Lane Kiffin. I would have fired James Franklin to hire a more high-profile person that would really, really move the needle. This felt like you saved yourself, but how much better did you actually get? And when you look at James Franklin's record, and I know Matt Campbell against ranked teams and top 10 teams has done better than what James Franklin has done at Iowa State, and I totally get that. But are people going to be mad if Penn State goes 10-2 and doesn't win that humongous game and makes the playoff and doesn't win a national championship again? How's that going to – is that the standard of getting you fired now? Because I'm going to go and tell you that's probably what Matt Campbell's going to do. I don't think Matt Campbell's going to come in there and all of a sudden Penn State is just going to start going 13-0 and just found it against Ohio State. But I guess any change from – we've been really good, but not great consistently. Change, I guess, is good in a way, but it's just such a narrow path to do better than James Franklin. You felt like, if Matt Campbell was going to be the guy, I don't think you fire James Franklin that early.
No.
I think you let it play out and then say, well, we'll make a run at Matt Campbell at the end. I don't know. It was kind of like you saved yourself, but you didn't really get as much bang for the buck of what you did to me. And you were the first one to fire your guy.
Right. And so you were the last one
thing.
to jump out of the pool,
Yeah.
and you first one to jump into the pool. It's like, what are we doing here? A name that I was curious about, this is going on a tangent here, but like I was holding my breath waiting for somebody to go grab Kenny Dillingham from ASU, just for the upside of it all. Like, again, not more proven than Matt Campbell, not a better hire on paper than Matt Campbell, but to what you just said, there is a curiosity of, okay, are we going to do better than 10-2 every year? And 10-2, to your point here, like you're in the college football playoff more years than not if you're a 10-2 team in the Big Ten. But I digress. What was your letter grade you gave the Campbell hire for Penn State?
Well, I gave it a B- because really, in reality, after everybody had been hired, I was ready to just give them a D. Or like a C-. But they kind of, again, it's a B-. Like, look, you're not going to graduate cum laude, but you're going to get your degree.
Yeah.
And if they call us and ask how you did, we're going to say you did pretty good. Yeah. So I would say B-. But it was flirting with, hey, man, you may have to go JUCO for a while.
Hey, these credits may not transfer. I hope you weren't.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Do they even go to school anymore? Does school even matter anymore? Once they break away from the NCAA, is it even going to matter anymore?
Yeah. You'd like to think not. You know, you'd like to think that at a certain point we understand these are professional athletes, but I mean, we could riff on that for 8 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It's heading that way, I think.
I'm with you on that. But B-, there are worse grades to have with what Penn State was staring down the
100%. Like it's you put C on every answer and got a B-. Like that's how it feels. Like I can't believe it. It's like me on the ACT. Once I got to the science part, I just put C and somehow still made like a 25.
It's the bronze medal syndrome where like
Yeah.
silver's unhappy because you wanted gold, but bronze you're like, we
got
made
a medal.
Got
a medal,
baby.
That's right.
Penn State
Jamaican
on the podium.
bobsled team, baby.
There
Nobody
we go.
believed.
Feel the rhythm.
That's exactly
Feel
right.
the rhyme. I love it. Well, to go to what's actually happening on the football field, we just had the college football playoff first round happen.
Yep.
To me, the most impressive team was Miami. And Jake, I left that game against Texas A&M. I left watching it rather. And I couldn't help but remember all the things we said about them during that first month of the season where it's like, hey, those trenches now, they're for real. Hey, Mario Cristobal football team, they've now built to what he expected them to be. And then they lose to Louisville, they lose to SMU, and you're kind of like,
Yeah.
how much of that was real? I think after the A&M game, I think what they have up front is legit. Where are you at on Miami?
Well, yeah, it's hard to sit here and say you don't think they're legit up front, and I think also from a protection standpoint with what they have, and then the offensive line being able to line up and run the ball at A&M the way they did. That's what, and it didn't shock me that they were able to have some success on the ground, but Fletcher was ripping off like chunk runs.
Dude, 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, like this wasn't a 2 yards, 3.5 yards, and we're living in 3rd and 3. This is, they just ran power and Fletcher just went for 22. Now they're sitting at midfield. I think when you look at Miami, and I say this about the NCAA basketball tournament a lot because you see it, there's teams that'll play in the first round of the tournament that are like a 5 seed going against a 12 or like a 4 seed going against a 13, and it'll be close, and they'll barely win in that first round, and it's like their life flashed before their eyes. So it's like, oh my God, if we lose, we're out. I feel like Miami, not that they played a first-round game before this, but them kind of seeing their postseason life flash before their eyes and then find out they're in on the last day.
Yeah.
The rejuvenation, because A&M knew they were in. They knew they were in before the Texas game. The question was, are you going to end up going undefeated and playing the SEC championship game? And at worst, you're going to host a game if you lose to Texas, and that's what ended up happening. And I don't want to take anything away from what Miami did on the field, but it felt like they went out there, and even though they did only score 10 points, and it wasn't like this, it was this incredible performance all around, especially on offense, it just felt like they were playing a little bit freer in the fact that, hey man, we're happy to be here. Those guys were the level of physicality in that game. If you just closed your eyes and listened to it, I mean, there were collisions up front. D linemen were getting knocked out. Like, I mean, if you're going to come downhill in that game, you better bring everything from on the scroll and crest that your family has ever achieved, throughout the years and realms. I just going up against a team like Ohio State. Because Marcel Reed, did some decent things. He was wildly inaccurate to me. in that game.
Yeah.
It's one thing to miss. It's another thing to miss the way he was missing. And it was from the jump. And you go back and look at the play where it turned into a scramble drill, and he had, I believe, Mario Craver on a walk-in if he just delivers a good ball that he throws low and ends up getting dropped. And even early in that game, you're missing high and behind. The interception wasn't even close. Julian Sayin is making that throw.
Oh, my gosh.
And
eyes
now,
closed.
Yeah, and now he can't escape the way Marcel can escape. And Marcel did that a little bit early and then kind of went away from it, which shocked me. I mean, that's how they were getting third downs, was Marcel taking off the first couple drives of that game. Ohio State's going to go about it a different way, but the difference is Miami can stop the run. And if you're Miami defensively, the goal of this game is, as crazy as it sounds, when you have guys like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Max Claret tight end that Ohio State does, you're going to have to make Julian Sayin beat you in this game. He can, but I think Miami, it needs to be another low-scoring game. It needs to look kind of like that Indiana game did.
I was going to say
with Ohio State for them to win, because Carson Beck, just right now, it's not. You didn't bring him in to have to hide him, and that's what you're having to do right now. And Shannon's got to stop getting cute from a play calling standpoint when your normal stuff is working, because that got him in 2nd and 15, 2nd and 18. If the peanut butter and jelly is working, if the Crustables are working, you don't have to go up here and try and make filet mignon or some Michelin star dish. Just give them the peanut butter and jelly or the vanilla ice cream, man. You don't have to even make apple pie.
If it works, it works. You don't got to
If it
reinvent
works,
the wheel,
it
man.
works,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
Yeah.
I love the Ted Lasso angle where, like, during the broadcast, they're talking about Shannon Dawson doesn't like trick plays after our third trick play we've seen.
Well,
and they're like, team has more fun.
It's like also, too, if you're going to run a fake
so.
reverse, you probably want to have a guy running the reverse to fake it, too. And what's funny is out of all the trick plays they ran, if you go back and look, and again, I don't think it was designed to go back to Carson Beck. On that first trick play where they put Malachi Toney in motion and gave him the ball and he took the shot down the field to Daniels, Carson Beck on the throwback is pants down wide
by
open.
himself.
Wide open. Now, I'm sure Shannon Dawson was like, don't throw it to Carson.
Never under any
You either run it or throw it to CJ. Those are the choices. So, yeah, man, look, like they say, if you've got the facts, pound the facts. If you've got the law, pound the law. If you've got neither, pound the table.
Yeah.
And turn around and hand the ball to Fletcher.
I mean, his entire family got an IMDb page after that fourth quarter he had, where they just kept going to his family in the stands. And kept
for sure.
I was like, average of 10 yards. I would hope they're going to his family after he's averaging 10 yards a carry in this game, just ripping apart Texas A&M. Like, it was.
And when they
a sight
had to have
behold.
it. Like, when they had to have it, and the wind's howling, and the pass game hasn't been great on the road, and you're just going to turn around and say, all right, it's mine versus yours, and we're going to see.
The curious part about this is, going back to the Indiana game, what you just said, Indiana got after Julian Sayin, got him on the ground 5 times.
Yeah.
Indiana also was able to run the football, much like Michigan was able to run the football a little bit. So a part of me is kind of side-eyeing Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins. I think they're the team that has it's not novel analysis. They are the more talented, better roster here. But I am looking a little bit like, if Michigan and Indiana can run the football like that, I think Mark Fletcher with the hot hand, and you and I both know, Jake, like, you have a hot hand as a running back, and those holes start looking bigger, and you start feeling stronger behind your pads. And also Miami at this point in time should feel like the baddest on the block, right? You just went and beat A&M at their place. It was already house money. Yeah. Like, you got the cauliflower ear of college football. Like, my rule is, if I see a cauliflower ear on any individual, I'm like, I'm not really going to fight anybody in general, but I know I'm messing with that if things go crazy.
Yeah, like the only thing I know about the UFC and the only way I'll bet on it is if you're from some poor Eastern European country.
Sure.
If your name is something I can't pronounce at the end and you look like you're about to try and kill Aladdin, like, I'm going to pick you to win the fight, and it always works out that way. But, to the point of Miami and the confidence level, I mean, their offensive line, which, I mean, you look who Mario Cristobal is, it's not a shocker. That's kind of their, identity. Should be as confident as anybody. And, going into the year, one of the questions about Ohio State was the interior defensive line against the run. I mean, we're looking at Caleb Downs, and you look at Arvell and Sonny and the guys they got running around, and even Curry and guys that they have that can rush the passer. And you're like, well, there could be a question in the interior defensive line, and I think they've answered it pretty well, but they're not perfect. They're not bulletproof. And I think if you're Miami, if I'm Mario Cristobal, the one thing I probably take the most solace in when I watch that Indiana film, and look, I thought going into the Big Ten championship game, I'm like, if you're going to beat Ohio State, you have to pretty much play perfect.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you go out there and score on every drive, but you don't turn the ball over. You make your jump shots, which are field goals, when you get a chance to kick them. Indiana turned the ball over in their own territory. Indiana missed a very makeable field goal, and they still won.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Miami, it's like, look, as talented as Ohio State is, like, we can play a style of game that can keep us both in the water, churning our feet, and all you want is a chance at the end.
Yeah.
Just give yourself a chance at the end, and that's what they did against A&M, and they were able to win it. Because Miami will not score more than 24 points against Ohio State. But I think there's a world in which Miami holds Ohio State to 10. But in order to do that, typically you can't make mistakes, and Indiana made mistakes and got away with it. So, like, how much better is Indiana than Miami? I mean, if we're being honest.
Personnel-wise, yeah. I mean, position by position.
Especially without Steven on the defensive line now, without Hanley. So I don't think there's this huge talent difference. And whenever you have Mesidor or Bain that can do what they do, it can wreck an offense. It can wreck an offense, put you way behind the chains. So, I think Miami's got a shot. I don't think I love the under.
9.5's a lot.
It's a lot.
9.5's a lot of points now.
It's just Will Carson, oh no, back foot. Throw it, it's high over the middle.
Yeah.
Or here comes somebody, I'm folding up. I mean, he did fumble and got it back against A&M one time. Like, that's another thing that worries me. He carries it like a loaf of bread. Like, I don't care how many Cavender twins you dated. Like, you screw up like that in this game, like, they're going to cook you.
Carson, we're doing first-round stuff. We're doing stupid stuff. We've seen both.
Yeah.
Which one are we getting here in the play from the biggest moment?
I just wonder if if you're Shannon Dawson, are you like, hey, how many times can we get the ball to Malachi Toney? How many times can we use him as a decoy? And how many times can I turn around and hand the ball off? Like, do I really want to put this on Carson?
I don't think you do.
I don't think
Not against that
Now,
team.
again, if the flow of the game's like, oh my God, we got to score 30, now you got to start taking shots. But I just don't see that with this Miami defense. If they keep tackling in space the way that they're tackling, that's another big thing. Because if you're going to put a lid on it with too high, if you're going to play split safeties, and you're going to give up things underneath, you better get there and you better get them on the ground.
They rally up hard from that.
No, they're
level,
hunting,
dude. Like,
Miami's
they
hunting.
are no seatbelt, sideline to sideline.
It's that that defense does not care about human life or well-being, and that's how
no
it should
concern.
be.
Caden Smith produced the hard count, 2-time All Sun Belt safety. I'm like, they got a bunch of Caden Smiths back there, man. Just hunting dudes. Just
I tell
hunting
you,
dudes.
I was wondering if you were a DB or maybe you played Z
man.
or something
I
on
mean,
the outside.
freaking alley runner extraordinaire.
Just
dude.
coming downhill, just 13 flavors of pissed.
Caden on the beat, so it's not nice.
I love it.
You
I
already
gotta
know
make
that.
sure not to upset him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a struggle for me every single day, but it's I managed to steer clear so far. Love Miami, dude. I am trying to figure out if I am just like way off on Oregon or I'm just irrationally confident in Oregon. Like, I love me a Dan Lanning cinematic recap. I think Dante Moore and his story makes him so likable. Seeing them shred JMU, the final score is deceptive, but I'm looking at Oregon, I'm like, golly, dude, it's hard to beat a team twice. I think if they can get past Texas Tech against Indiana, I'd feel pretty good about that matchup if I'm the Ducks with what you were then and what you are now. Like, I love Oregon. Are you also guzzling the green and gold, green and yellow, however you want to phrase it, Kool-Aid like I am? Or where are you out on the Ducks and Dan Lanning, man?
Well, I think they got a really good path.
Probably
in
the best,
college
right?
football playoff, yeah. And again, that's not a shot against Texas Tech. I got some questions about Morton, to be honest, at the end of the day, but I know Texas Tech is the lead on defense. I think Oregon, to me, is probably the hardest team to project because the spectrum's so wide on what could happen with them. And, the knock on Dan, one of the very few knocks on Dan Lanning coming into this year was Oregon's won a lot of games. They've had a lot of success. Again, ultimate motivator. We talked about being real with the players earlier. I mean, Dan's the epitome of that, and he's young enough where he's still cool and gets it.
And Nike on probably helps a little bit.
He understands what's going on. But the knock on him was that his defenses didn't show up in big games.
Yeah.
And if you go back
and
go back and look at Oregon in big games and even in the playoff last year, the defense hasn't shown up. That's why, they did shred JMU. They could have scored 70. They called the dogs up. I saw that. But there's still things defensively I see them do that worry me. And Indiana did walk into your trap and take over your trap earlier in the season. And if you go back and watch that game, I mean, Indiana, they dominated that game.
We could have won by more.
It was.
Could have won by more.
It was, they put the governor on the golf cart going down the hill about halfway through the third quarter. And it's like, look, we're just not going to let go of the rope, and y'all aren't going to beat us. Dante Moore, I think, is the most talented quarterback left. Just from a God-given skill set, like God-given ability. If he plays his best with the skills and tools that he has, he's more talented than anybody else. But Oregon is also like 12 years old everywhere. But there's like a beauty in that they don't realize they shouldn't be doing this.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't. They're just showing up like we're going to play football and we're going to go play hard and we've won games in this, that, or the other. So I think Oregon, if they put their best game together, is really good. I don't think they're the best team in the country, but with the path they have, I don't think they have to be the best team in the country to be able to, again, to go see Indiana again in a semifinal. But I don't think they're going to win it. It would take a couple breaks going their way. But the spectrum for them is as wide as possible.
I love what you said about like the inexperience almost being an advantage. We had a kicker at Cornell who his name was Nick Knoll. He was just like a psychopath, like the kind of dude who thinks he's a linebacker.
Yeah, you said
kicker's body.
So,
like, it just, you 100%, you're all the way dialed in. But like I remember so vividly, it's to beat Princeton. And Princeton's like running the league at this point, and we got a shot to go beat him, and he lines up for like a 40-plus yarder. And the dude just like, for whatever reason, like upstairs, he's not processing what's going on.
Yeah.
And I remember after he made the kick, someone's like, I don't think his brain processes pressure properly. And I'm like, that might be Oregon. And if that's the way it's going in a 4-game stretch where you got to go do that, like I like them to win more games.
Well, when you play
of that.
Yeah, well, when you play for a guy like Dan Lanning, he'll make you believe that too. Like again, I don't think there's any trick. To your point, I've seen freshmen go in big moments and make big plays because they're just out there playing. They don't understand
Tony.
The magnitude of what's going on. But if you watch just the way that Dan gets these, I think Dan's more fired up than anybody. But just the way he's able to tap into that, just that primal thing that is able to motivate now an 18 to 26-year-old, it seems like in college football, but he's able to tap into that, man, and it's real, and they go out there and play like that. So I wouldn't put anything past them. I don't think they're going to win the national championship, but I would not be surprised to look up and in the semifinal against Indiana, it's a one-score game, and they're knocking on the door. So, I mean, my brother, he's got every pick right so far, unfortunately for me, he's got him winning the whole thing, so we'll see. I mean, you talk about not being smart enough to realize what you're doing and it works.
Let's go.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Tail Blaine, then it sounds like.
Yeah, that's not a stray. It's my brother. I do love him.
100%. Last thing on Oregon, I think what you just said about the motivational piece for Dan Lanning, his communication with the players. I look at a guy like Bear Alexander. Doesn't work out at Georgia. Doesn't work out at USC. Right now he's playing big-time ball for Oregon. Yeah. And it's like he's yes, chef all over the place here is Bear Alexander. Yeah. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is culture, a huge part of it. And also they're so deep at the skill players, Jake. Like 3 to 4 backs can tote it for you. They got 2 tight ends. They got a bunch of other receivers. And, oh, by the way, maybe they get Evan Stewart and DeCorian Moore rolling again here. So just the depth of Oregon, if it comes down to those things being a wash and Dante Moore pulling the trigger, we'll see. Maybe Blaine's right.
Yeah, look, I'm not worried about – and, again, I'm not saying Oregon's bad on defense, but I'm not worried about Oregon's offense. I'm not worried about it.
Shouldn't be. I'm with you, 100% with you. Really quickly, Alabama. I was impressed by just the strength of the jaw, dude. Take a freaking punch, go down 17-0 at Oklahoma with what I've called the Komodo dragon of college football on the other side. In Oklahoma, where it's not going to be pretty, be tough to look at. It's a salamander and a dinosaur got together and made an ugly baby. Yeah. But, yeah, man, just like the Oklahoma being tough to kill element there at home and Alabama going in and doing essentially what's hard to do.
Yeah.
How impressed were you by Bama? Because I'm looking at them as like I can't get them anymore. I don't understand them anymore.
Well, they just remind me of Private Doss from Hacksaw Ridge. They just keep going up that mountain, man.
One more.
They don't even have a gun
just give me
to
one
save
more.
people. They just somehow they get knocked down, tried to throw them out. They just keep going back up. You ask, hey, where's Alabama at if you landed on the planet today? They're like, well, they're still in it. They just keep going back up. All they've got is a necklace with a cross on it. Yet somehow, you talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If I showed you the tape of the first quarter and a half of that Alabama-Oklahoma game and I stopped it, and then I told you that Alabama won, you'd have thought a terrorist attack happened or something at the stadium. Like, they are so – you want to talk about hard to project.
Bane popped up again.
Dude, yeah, like it's just I don't know what to tell you. They can't run the ball. Ryan Williams is on the back of a milk cart, and they'll having to call Christopher Walsh to try and go find this guy. The defense has continually gotten better, but it's not like it's the best defense in the country. But this team, Kalen DeBoer we talk about Dan Lanning and like motivating and culture and things like that. You know, the guys that talk the most are typically not the ones you worry about. It's the like I feel like Kalen DeBoer would be an incredible assassin because he just doesn't look like an assassin.
Yeah,
like he's the guy that you know, you're looking at everybody checking people on the street and like, well, this guy kind of looks like an assassin. And you know, Kalen DeBoer just walks out of a library. You know, doesn't even say anything to you. The next thing you know, you're dead. Like, Kalen DeBoer, like, even when he gets fired up, you're just like, oh, you know, on the sideline, I'm like, God, I just like Kalen DeBoer.
I always think he's trying to be Saban when he does that.
But like, it just,
I think that's
he's
not
like
that.
this, like, intimidating, like, you know, Saban used to intimidate, you know what I'm saying? And then he'd get up there and just Kalen DeBoer, it's just, hey, you know, oh, wow, I've already drank half my coffee and you poisoned it. Like, now I'm just dead. Regardless, like I didn't even realize it. Like he just finds a way, man. Yeah. Like in his own Sun Tzu Art of War type of way. Yeah. Think about it. They look terrible against Florida State. Then they look a ton better. Then they start looking terrible again. And you're down 17-0 on the road against an elite defense that is healthy now.
Maybe the best in the tournament.
Yeah. And you win? You come back and win. Not only you win, you tied up at halftime. Now, look, I know the punter sold and Mateer threw the pick six in the first half, but, like, that takes a closeness and intestinal fortitude, man, that, like, Kalen, I don't know if it's, like, ink blot pictures or what he's doing or what's going on, man, but he's figured it out.
Next level.
The man, they're still in it, and that's all that matters. Winning, there's no such thing as an ugly win at this point. It is survive and advance. So we'll see. Here's the thing. They haven't put a game together.
No.
In a while. So what happens if they do?
If Daniel Hill ends up going 4 yards a carry. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, all of a sudden, here comes the run game, and then Ryan Williams just, you know, pops out from behind.
Oh, you're still here?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, wow. Oh, you just spun 3 guys out like a Russian ballerina and went and scored. Or whatever the male version of a ballerina is.
Sure, yeah.
What do you call a male ballerina? Kane, do you know that?
A ballerino?
I don't know. A baller?
A good dancer?
Yeah, I don't know. That's worth a Google.
Yeah, that's definitely worth a Google. What I would say, though, when it comes to Bama and Kalen DeBoer and what you just said, this entire season with how close they've lived to the edge, I'm like, wasn't that Washington team doing the exact same thing? Much less talented.
Maybe they're comfortable in the edge.
Bama's much less talented.
Maybe that's where they're comfortable.
Receivers.
Just on the edge, which, I mean, I wouldn't recommend, but
not how I'm scared of heights.
Yeah,
I don't like to live that.
I'm terrified of heights.
Alex Honnold, though, like he needs
like that. Glass elevators are my Voldemort.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I'm 36 years old and I'll close my eyes. I've got no shame in saying that.
I'm with it. Yeah, I mean the Ty Simpson of it all. To what you said, defense is not great. Running game is non-existent. I shouldn't say defense is not great. Defense has not been at the level of an Ohio State or an Oklahoma where you think they're just going to take over a game. Yeah. But Ty Simpson might just be that ace of spades where, like, the numbers don't look great, but on 4th and 2, got to have it against Auburn, frozen ropes aside.
If you go back and watch the plays this dude's made in big moments,
another level.
Even go back and watch the Florida State game, which was ugly in some aspects for him, he still did some things like, I think about the throw he made on 4th down against Missouri. I mean, it just seems he just got that country just moxie. I don't know another way to describe it. Like Ty Simpson, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, boy's making plays.
Yes.
Like, I believe in him. And he's having to put on the cape without a run game and do it. It's not like, you know, and I love me some Greg McElroy, but Greg McElroy could turn around and hand the ball off.
Sure.
A.J. McCarron is a buddy of mine. My brother played with his brother. A.J. McCarron could turn around and hand the ball off, and then just that defense goes out there. I mean, just you don't even have to really do anything. So Ty's having to do more, and he's still finding a way to do it. I mean, they're still in it.
He's got that edge to him, too. Like, they beat Georgia's got the hedges in his mouth. It's post-game talking about y'all wrote us off. Would Kobe say job's not finished? Like, I love that edge. I think Bama thrives off that, and I don't.
Oh, he 100%. Like, if you were to, I think it would fool a lot of people if you were to hop into Ty Simpson's car or truck right now and turn the music on. I wouldn't be shocked if Pastor Troy popped up. I wouldn't be shocked if Wu-Tang Clan popped up. I think he's got a little bit of that, hey, don't judge a book by its cover type thing. I think he's got a lot of that killer in him, to be honest with you.
Many Men comes on in the 4th quarter, and he knows every word.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, I flipped the script on him there.
50 Cent almost saved him, too.
Yeah, he did.
Almost saved him.
Yeah, might have to be a tradition there in Norman. Last thing here, Jake. the transfer portal, moving, shaking, spinning. We're trying to get our bearings as best we can. It's like an out-of-control merry-go-round. It won't open until January 2nd, but the portal quarterback market is increasingly more and more juicy. Like, not a lot of, like, Cam Ward's in there, but there's a couple of guys who are like, hey, that guy might be worth 2 wins. If you're not taking Sam Levitt, with your background being in the coaching world, which one of these individuals are you like, hey, I might kick the tires on a Rocco Becht, on a Lagway, who's the guy that sticks out to you that's not named Sam Levitt?
So I can't get Sam Levitt. No Sam Levitt.
Sam Levitt.
All right, Sam Levitt's it's gone.
Yeah.
Does Sam Levitt have a brother that's playing? Now, I would say what's and I don't think this gets talked about enough. It's not just the players that are in the portal, but it's the type of players that are in the portal. Like, regardless of what scheme you run offensively, when you look at the type player, you have everything. You can go. I mean, look at a Byron Brown from USF. If you want to, be a heavy run, don't have to be the greatest passer of all time, or a Bo Perbula in that same type of thing. And then you've got a Josh Hoover, who's a elite thrower of the ball, a Rocco Becht, who's got a little bit of witch in him. I think has a chance to be an elite thrower of the ball. You've got a little bit of everything. If it was me, the only thing with Lagway is the injury thing, man. Like, this guy just seems like he's just got that crash dummy syndrome.
Yeah,
where like
for better
it's
or for
just
worse.
something's gonna happen. Like legs, arms, head, shoulders, knees and toes. It's always something. So it's hard for me to trust that because his talent is way up there. Me and you have talked about this. So if I'm running an offense and I'm trying to be balanced or it is pass heavy, it's hard for me not to look at Josh Hoover.
Yeah, man.
And just really like what he can do. But again, if I'm running something where I need the quarterback to be able to line up and be a threat running, you have multiple guys that can do that too. I think there may be some sneaky ones out there that maybe some people aren't paying attention to, that a guy could burst on the scene from the G5 or even the FCS and be able to come in and do some things. But I would say Josh would probably be the top one I would take. What about you?
Maybe a one Jaden Craig from Harvard. Maybe
look,
look,
you ain't got to worry about the school part.
You know what I'm saying? Might be able to.
I just
okay.
wonder how much easier it is going from like Harvard you got into Cornell. They wouldn't let me.
Got into a strong word. Got into a very.
There's
admission
no way they would have I could have ever gotten into Cornell. But like, I wonder if you just go from like Harvard to like just a normal school. It's like, when you go to another country, but you major in your own language.
Yeah.
It's like you just show up and you're like, oh, I'm an English major. What's up? I've spoken my whole life. I wonder if it's just like, oh God, y'all's math doesn't have letters in it. Like, that's amazing. I've always wondered that if it's just easier.
I will say that.
How hard was Cornell?
Not to go down it. So I'll say this.
What was your major? What did you major in?
I majored
biomechanical,
in
scientific, space engineering?
Dude. So this is going to sound
like
a little
cloning?
bit fugazi. So their hotel administration program is in the School of Business.
Okay.
It is
hotel administration.
Hotel administration.
Okay.
People do that, and like, you have everyone that wants to go run on a hotel, kids that want to do real estate, kids that want to be on Wall Street. Any way you slice it, Jake, I walk into every classroom. I'm a relatively smart person. I am the dumbest person in every single room I walk into. And the thing is,
you got to be funny.
Teachers know it.
Yeah.
Teachers know it. Like, I have to cold
You got to
call
be
somebody.
funny or really good looking.
Kid in sweats and a hoodie. How about you answer this one? But to your point.
I'd be like, I think the answer is Marriott. Marriott? Is that the answer?
Anyone? Like, no, it was 7. I was like, oh, well, there we go.
Well,
we'll run that back.
I think Marriott has 7 letters in it.
Or it's close to, if not.
Yeah, come on.
But on the portal quarterback side, I'm with you. With Josh Hoover, the thing I like is, like, I know I'm getting production. Like, he's top 2 in the Big 12 in passing each of the last 2 years, played a lot of football, and I'm not feeling like I'm gambling on a guy. Like DJ Lagway, you're a little bit gambling that he goes back to what he was the end of his freshman season.
Yeah. To your point, you feel like you have a lot more answers with a Josh than you do and going and taking somebody that may have a ton of potential. A lot of people have had potential and it doesn't work out. So, yeah, I think that's the goal, right? You want to make the eval as easy as possible. And when you have that type of sample size and that type of ability, you probably sleep a little bit better at night knowing that it's you took a minus 115 bet. You didn't take a plus 250, even though it could, get more bang for your buck.
It's not a parlay.
No, like just trying to come in here and not screw it up.
Speaking of minus 115, you go ahead and subtract the 1 from that. You got a 15. Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola. Where are you at on Raiola on this thing, man? What do you think about him? Because he's that blend of like, I know he's played a lot of football. I've said before, he will not do this. There's no way he does this. I would love for him to look at Dante Moore in the college football playoff and say, that whole gap year thing worked out pretty well. Let me go play for Steve Sarkisian at Texas and sit for another year behind Arch. And then once I get dialed in, go do my thing. Where are you at on the Raiola experience as a whole?
I feel like Raiola, it's kind of like when your buddy tells you, like, hey, I just had the best steak of my life at this place. You've got to go check it out. And you're like, yeah, we'll go check it out. And you go eat there, and it's a good steak, but, like, it's not the best you've ever had. Like, he really oversold it. God, I feel like they've oversold Raiola in a lot of aspects. And it's not the cosplaying Patrick Mahomes thing, which is a fun social media thing. And I think he's a quality player, but I don't think he is what a lot of people were billing him to be. And again, I'm not saying I wouldn't take him if I had to compare him to some other guys, but he wouldn't be the first person I'd pick out of the batch if I was able to hand pick somebody. The injury is also going to be another thing, and I know with medical stuff nowadays, it's a lot easier to come back. I just don't think he is this. I think you always need help because football's the ultimate team sport. One guy cannot win it. I feel like Raiola needs more help than what people assume.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think Raiola could do what Ty Simpson's done.
He needs to be in a system. He's not going to carry.
Yeah, he needs to keep it on the food thing. He needs to be the mashed potatoes. He doesn't need to be the whole entree. Doesn't need to be the steak. Like I'm not as in love with Dylan Raiola's game as some other people have been.
I'm with you on that. Well, you know what? I'm in love with your game, brother.
I appreciate it,
I'm in love with what you do. This is awesome. Thank you for making some time to chop it up. Week of Christmas. You're about to build a slide tonight. I mean, you got a lot of things going, but this is awesome, man. We'll do it again here real soon.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you having me, and shout out to your family. I know it's going to be a fun Christmas over in the PicKell household, and again, congrats on the hotel administration stuff.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it hasn't served me just yet in this industry, but
look, you need a place to stay for a game? My guy JD, he can tell you the square footage.
The average daily rate.
He can tell you, is that breakfast really continental, or are they playing games over here?
Nothing continental about it. Appreciate y'all being tuned in. Again, for Jake Crain, for Caden Smith, giving out football headaches on the ones and twos, myself, JD PicKell. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.